Bitcoin cracked below 90,000. Liquidity driving up. Alts are bleeding all over the place, and the entire crypto market lost over $1 trillion in the last 6 weeks. But since we triggered and went below 90,000, we're going to have to be forced to sing the Ed Sakota whipsaw song. So just hang on. We're going to get to it because I am a man of my word. But there's a plot twist in all this. While everyone thinks that the cycle is over, I'm thinking, or we're thinking, that the cycle may have just reset, not extended, reset. And if that's true, the next 12 months could look nothing like what people expect. Welcome back, Crypto Crew. It is your boy Tom here, bringing you the hottest in Bitcoin and crypto action. If you like what you see, give us a like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you have not already. And of course, come on over to X and follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day, because we are crypto maniacs and we are people of our word. I can assure you that. So sit back, relax. I'm going to introduce you to something probably you've never seen before, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun because trading is all about whipsaws and understanding where we are in the marketplace. And I think that Ed Sakota actually fully actually teaches us this. So hang on tight. Here's the man himself, and let's get ready. All right.
Hereby take great pleasure in presenting its essential elements for your financial edification. Joining me today are several members from the Northern Nevada Bluegrass Association. We gather to play benefits for local area hospitals. If you are currently in a clinic as a recovering marketaholic, or even if you have a mild case of marketitis, this tune might put you on the road to recovery. In any event, pull up a chair, lean into your monitor, and lend us an ear. We hope that you enjoy the show.
You get a whip and I get a saw, honey. You get a whip and I get a saw, babe. You get a whip and I get a saw. One good trend pays for 'em all. You and I trader be mine. And what you gonna do when you get a trend, honey? What do we do when you catch a trend, babe? What we gonna do when you catch a trend? We ride that trend right to the end. Honey, trader baby, be mine. When you get a whip and I get a saw, honey. You get a whip and I get a saw, babe. You get a whip and I get a saw. One good trend pays for 'em all. Honey, trader, be mine. That is the song. I promised you that I would sing it, and I did. I hope that you had a little bit of fun with that. Now, let's get into the analysis. Let's start with the good old Bitcoin because that's the one that drove us to the Ed Sakota song. And man, markets are really bleeding red right now. And it's a classic textbook playback, a playbook by Bitcoin. Printed the head and shoulders that we warned about. We saw the double top. We said the ghost of the machine was haunting us, and really, Bitcoin itself has come to fruition. And the target was hit at 90,000, going as low as I think 89,000. What did we go down to? 89,258. We had that market level that I said that it had to hold above or else we were going to go deeper. We did go deeper. I do not like that we spiked below this. So therefore, I think that we're still in for there's going to be some more room for the downside of Bitcoin right now. So as it stands right now, we got a bearish retest that's been confirmed. The $90,000 target already hit. Pattern traders ate this move alive. They saw it. They played it. Good for them. Now the question is, will the bears overstay the welcome? Or are the bulls ready to make a bounce? Well, it's all going to occur like right now here at these levels, the most important levels that we got. Since we broke the 90,000, it's marked the lowest level in months. Man, going back to like February of the beginning of the year right here, this is where we were. Liquidity is quite thin. Sellers are still in control, and traders actually are bracing for more downside. So let's get into the 2-hour chart work as it stands right now. It looks a little grim right now for us. I had to adjust the pitchfork. We're downward movement. Classically, we could come down to the 87,000 level. All right. But right now, as it stands, for those of you short term traders, all right, we came down to 89.2. We got to get above like this level right here, 92. That's going to be the next level of resistance. 92,000. If we could pop through it, there's another level of resistance right behind it at 97, 98. That was the level that we said the other day we had to get through. Right now, it's grinding lower. Okay, but I'm going to explain to you that what our position is on this, just in case you don't completely understand it. All right, and look, this is our long-term position I'm going to be going over in the next section. So hang tight. Let me explain my case, and you can come in and you could be, you could tell me whether or not you think I'm right or wrong. That's fine, But the simple fact of the matter is, right now, this is a trader's market. Okay, so this is not like easy hold, go long and just watch the market go up. Obviously, that's not been the case since 116,000. All right, so right now it is a trader's market. So if you want to see how we deploy capital, come on in, join our private group. I'll show you how to do that later in the video. I'm not going to beat it as a dead horse, as you know. I think that all of our followers should join us there because it's a lot. We go over a lot of good points. But anyway. The entire crypto market has shed over 1 trillion in the last 6 weeks. Okay? Now, that's not just a dip, that's a liquidity vacuum. All right? And what's driving it? Well, right now we got fading expectations of the rate cuts. We talked about that. Derivatives unwinding, ETF outflows. You gotta watch this BlackRock, man. This IBIT, man. This is ridiculous. Okay, they're really driving the market. People are pulling out of the fund. They're pulling people out of the fund right now to create a vacuum. As I said, as described yesterday, this is what they like to do. They control the marketplace this way. Now they're also controlling the marketplace because they're looking at now. They're giving the IRS the ability to look at like offshore accounts for people that hold cryptocurrency. You talk about a power grab. I mean, this is getting a little ridiculous, I mean, it's insanity. We also have to be watching out for Nvidia, but I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But anyway, we got macro fear, we got risk off across global tech right now. So it's classic compression, strong selling, weak buyers, and there's a shrinking liquidity in the market. And we said because of this, we thought that we were going to be in the blood zone right around here. We got to be very cautious, though. Okay, we're here, and there actually has been some trades that were kicked off. The guys get long at 90,000. All right, so I'm sure they're watching it closely. I don't even know if they got out of the trade though, but they had a buy standing order in there. If you were in the private group, you would have saw it. I think you could have scooped like 2,000. Like the marketplace went up to like what 92 something after the buy. So I don't know if they're holding it right now. I didn't really talk to him about it because I had to get prepared for the, Etsukoda whipsaw song, that I had to lay out on there for you. But we know that Bitcoin loves to fill the gaps. Bitcoin filled the gaps. 97, check. 92, check. Whew. Pain brought some precision, right? Smart money waited. They sold up top. Congratulations to the guys that were telling me, Tom, at 110, hey, we're going to go down to 90. I didn't actually believe we were going to break 95. I really didn't think so. I thought we were going to pop down, pop right back up over 100. Okay, wrong. Terrific. Admit it, was wrong. Now that we broke the 91, that level that I had here, the short-term level, right there, I don't like it. We could dip down to 87. We could even go potentially as low as 82,000. So you got to be prepared to trade this thing. All right. So we got major breakout start where retail gives up. Right. But retail, I think they're still holding on a little tight right here. So we got to figure out, is the next stop going to be more pain? Are we going to get through the 100,000? That's the question. All right. It looks like right now we're going to go through some more pain because, as I said, I don't like that we broke my level at 91,235. The only way that we can recover, I told you, short term, is we can get above 92, but don't, start blowing the horns and think we're breakout. No way. Okay. We got 98 up in here, right here. Where is that 98? 97.4, 98,000. Okay, so it's going to be a lot of wood to chop. So now let me get into my thesis of why I think that the top is not in. All right. Now you sit there, Tom, are you going to be wanting to sing the Whipsaw song again? Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm just going to tell you what I think. All right. And the important part is like just for me to reiterate my view. And this is where I'd like you to come in and tell me what you think. No problem. I think our team, I think that we believe that we're about to see an extended cycle, meaning that the macro top is not in. Now, look, saying this in this environment actually feels like, a lot of hopium, right? But as it stands, we're not hopium traders, we're data traders. So let me give you the context of what I'm thinking. If you really look at Bitcoin itself, all right, it's looking a lot like the 2020 where Bitcoin got nuked and then exploded. Now we're thinking 2025 is setting up for the same move. Now we could be going into the end of the year before it actually happens, absolutely. But we have a different year. We have the same structure. We're thinking we have the same opportunities. What feels like the end might often be just the real beginning in this thing. Now just like, let me get through it, all right? Don't start like shaking your head like you're out of your mind, all right? And I might very well be out of my mind, but this is what we're seeing. We believe the cycle isn't extending as much as it's resetting. Oh, why? Why you say that? All right. Well, crypto cycles historically track economic growth cycles. More money sloshing around means more money entering crypto. Now, Scott Bessent said something very interesting just I think yesterday, where he said that we're going to see growth starting very, very soon. It's not happening right now, but the growth is going to actually come. That's a good. If he's right, when the guy is a brilliant guy, if he's right, then there's going to be more money sloshing around. But guess what? We're not there yet. We're not there yet. So we got to deal with the way the market's going right now. The market's going to be to and fro, and you're going to have to trade this thing. But the last for the last decade, we've seen a reliable like 4-year rhythm. Okay, 3 years expansion, 1 year contraction, then repeat. But the current economic growth cycle was forecast to peak in October 2025, and honestly, that's exactly what happened. However, the tariff-driven growth scare from April to May this year basically reset the entire cycle. So it forced growth to bottom early. It's my opinion. In other words, we may completed the full cycle from mid 2022 to early 2025 instead of running late into 2025. And right now, we may be looking at a brand new cycle start. So it's not really the end; it's the beginning, in my opinion. Okay, now you could disagree with that. You could, and I please leave the comments. I love reading the comments, you guys. When all minds that get together, you know, it's a bright. We can come up with some very very good ideas from our subscribers for sure. So what I'm basically saying is we might be staring at a brand new cycle. Now, all that's going to depend on what happens, now that's forward thinking, forward looking, right? That's not now. So we're going to have a lot of chop for sure. For sure. Could we go to 80,000? Could we go to 82,000? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Now, it's not now all of a sudden I'm turning bearish. I'm telling you what I think as far as I think that the cycle basically is restarting. So, and you can look to see like how cycles can fool you. All right. Now we showed this chart the other day. Look, we got NDQ, we got Bitcoin, right? And NDQ sold off, people panic, and then it pumped 58%. Now Bitcoin's doing the same exact thing. Now, when I'm saying I'm at the bottom of Bitcoin yet, only the market's going to let me know when the bottom's in. And how is it going to let me know when the bottom's in? When it rallies. When it rallies beyond like 96,000, 97,000, 98,000, you can start to say, that recent low we got might be a potential bottom. We don't know because price determines everything. The coin itself doesn't. I mean, it's the price points that determine everything, right? So bottoms, as I said, never feel like opportunity, but they are. And you don't do bottom fishing. You don't do bottom fishing. You get into a good trading group. We think that ours is the one. We will help, steer you through the madness. But you don't want to be the person that says, "Wow, I wish I had saw that bottom and saw the reaction off that bottom, and the natural rally turned into an upward movement." So you got to be prepared for it, right? So now there are big momentum, or there are medium term catalysts that we have to keep our eye on. All right, and it's simple. Watch anything that adds or subtract monies from people's pockets. That's what it comes down to, or makes crypto more or less accessible. So those are the things you got to look for. Like, okay, so how do I figure out like what's important? Well, if it adds money to your pocket, that's a good thing. If it takes money away from you, that's a bad thing. So a good catalyst would be, short-term interest rate cut. Yeah, we might not get that in December. Okay. Uh, we got a rumor going on that there's going to be a $2,000 tariff stimulus check to people that make under 100 grand a year. That'd be great. That'd be great for the economy. Now we got government workers getting paid again, plus back pay. That's a good thing. That's happening because the government's open again. And we got to make sure that they pass the passing of the Market Structure Bill and Clarity Act now. That's a double-edged sword because I said now they're starting to let the IRS start to look at people's like crypto accounts offshore. That's not a good thing. Okay, but we have to see what comes of that. But right now, there are these are like the direct injections of liquidity and confidence. Those points I just made. Bad catalysts. Any type of rising inflation, rising unemployment, flat or rising rates, delays or roadblocks in crypto regulation. These subtract liquidity, they slow participation, and they hit demand. However, under the hood, we got some signs of accumulation. I want to show you this is crypto quant. So let me take you over to that chart, and I want to show you this because this is quite interesting. Now, if we look at this, we can see that something big is happening under the surface. Crypto quant shows heavy Bitcoin accumulation right as the market sells off. Now, this is not immediate, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're just showing it because we could get a dip low. It doesn't mean this is like, oh, I'm going to go all in. No, it's not the time to go all in. Okay, but it's not noise. Okay, it's long term capital absorbing supply while the sentiment of the coin collapses. So these are the footprints of the beginnings of reversals that are forming. Now, we don't get a full-blooded reversal until we get above 98,000, 100,000. Okay, we don't have that yet. So we got to trade this thing. So short-term catalyst right now, this week is a big one that you have to keep your eyes on because any narrative that spooks or juices the market is going to move crypto. Okay, and this week, Nvidia. There's a single event happening with Nvidia, and we gotta be watching it. It's their earnings. Okay? Now, why does it matter so much? Because Nvidia is actually literally steering the entire tech market right now. And remember, when tech moves, Bitcoin moves either upward or downward. Okay? Now, how big is Nvidia's influence? Well, if you think about it, okay, a 2% shift in Nvidia stock equals 90 billion entering or leaving the US market. Okay, what does that mean? It's more than the entire market cap of Solana moving in and out of the market on a 2% move. That's why Nvidia earnings are the event of the week. Now, we got some other good things. Now, we're going to get into Ethereum right now. And before I get into Ethereum, I'm having a problem with X. I don't know if any of you guys are having a problem with X, but we have an X post up there that I would love to take you to. But we got the Banque de France, and actually they need cryptocurrencies because they just got downgraded. Their bonds just got downgraded. So let me read you the post because I can't get to it. Oh, I got to it. Okay, my X was down for a little bit, but I'm glad to see it's up. We got here breaking UBS, Societe Generale, Banque de France are bringing repo markets to Ethereum. That's great news. And Banque de France, they need crypto, man, to back them up because their bonds just got hit hard. But anyway, the euro is kind of recovering off of it, which is good for crypto. But anyway, just 1% of this market would put 125 billion on chain. And this is a perfect post, man. The message is clear. Institutions are not experimenting; they're transitioning. So Ethereum. Let me tell you. Let's talk about Ethereum right now. It's holding up better than Bitcoin. If we come on over to good old Ethereum, I'm not saying it's not going to go lower because we are at the make or break level right now. We have the main support of Ethereum right at about 2,800. Now, if we break that, we could actually dip down to like 23. I would say 2,300 would, wow, that would be incredible. But right now, Ethereum's holding tight at 3,000. Bitcoin's been getting sloshed around, and Ethereum is holding tight, which is good. Now, Ethereum is also basically a multi-month low right now. Now, overall, Ethereum structure should be weaker than Bitcoin, and momentum favors the sellers. Yet it's holding a $2,800, $3,000 price level. Something's up. Now we always said like Ethereum cycles, they were forged in blood, right? For sure. Same pattern, same dump. Retail screams bear market, but this setup always births the biggest movements upward. So the ones that hold now, the ones that are the ones that are going to sell into euphoria later. You got to be look. Ethereum is going to be. You got to pick your battles, right? I'm not telling you go buy Ethereum, put the house on Ethereum. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we're seeing Ethereum much higher in the long run. Now, what does that mean for now? Nothing. Nothing. But you got to pick your battles. If you need some help, come on over to our pro group. We'll guide you through it. Okay, we got short term, long term, all that stuff. I'm going to show you how to get involved in that later on. But right now, there's good news. Okay, Ethereum usually leads recovery phases because it's more tightly correlated with liquidity conditions and tech flows themselves. So a good Nvidia report could actually get Ethereum up off its back. Okay, so once the tide turns, Ethereum is often first to show some life. Now, let's get on over to good old Bitcoin dominance. All right, let's head over there. This thing is, it doesn't move, man. I mean, we got some glimmers of hope here. We got a lower high in price, a higher high in momentum. Like we got some textbook bearish divergence, but this is a weekly chart. It's going to take a long time to play out. So really, right now, what it's showing for altcoin market, nothing. It's just the altcoin market itself is bleeding out. There's some selective things that you got to look at in the marketplace. But really, the whispers of this hidden divergence have not hit the altcoin market yet. Altcoins are getting slammed. Okay. So really, and before we get into that, let me show you how to get into the pro group because if you want some help, you're going to want to come over here. Right here is the link in the description. You click this link right there. You'll be taken over to our free, I'll say it again, free Telegram trading community. We're not trying to sell you anything in here. We don't have any courses. As a matter of fact, Merlin has a course on how to make money day trading up for free in this area. So if you're interested in that, great. He came, he's a trophy winner for a crypto contest. Great trader. You're going to probably you could pick up some stuff from him. So we drop insane alpha trading opportunities daily in the group. Hey, if you want to go it alone, we offer 2 unique links to get. You click this link here, be taken over WeX. They offer a really great bonus through our link where you got no fees for life. You got BTCC, actually giving a $500 US dollar token giveaway. You got a small account, $1,000, 50% increase in the account right there to trade with, right? Not a bad deal. But I do suggest that you join our professional trading group where we could stack the stories together and we could trade together. It's really a good group to actually get involved with. All right, let's get over to total crypto market cap. All right, right now. All right, again, it's bleeding red. Altcoins are getting slammed. All right. Bitcoin and Ethereum, once they lose support and liquidity dries up, altcoins absolutely get hammered. And we're seeing 90 to 95% of the alts in red. You look at XRP again, back down 216. Woo. Okay. You got liquidity fragmentation everywhere. No real rotation happening. No bids in mid caps. It's just quiet. All right. So this is, a defensive posture market right now. So here's the recap for the day. I hope that you enjoyed the Ed Sakota song, but here is the recap. All right. We got Bitcoin itself is into major support right now. All right. Could we dip a little bit lower? Absolutely. Ethereum, altcoins are under pressure, but we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching for, what happens with this Nvidia profit earnings report that's got to come out. All right. Liquidity is thin. Fear is extremely high. But the macro cycle may not be ending. In our opinion, it might be just starting afresh right now. Now, medium term catalysts themselves could flip the entire narrative that I just went over. Okay, but short term eyes are on Nvidia. Stay sharp, stay disciplined. Make sure you come on over to X. Follow us on X where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. So, what do you got to do? Well, you got to think about joining our pro group. You also have to do your own research. As you know, I am a trader, not a financial advisor. And as a short term trader, you have to enjoy the party, but dance near the door. And I'll see you in the next one, unless I get picked up by Columbia Records or something for that last bit of singing I did. But I highly doubt it. See you tomorrow. Cheers.